Global shock. Leaked footage reveals Menglong and Song Yiren's final 30 minutes of terror. What horrifying truth unfolded in those last half-hour moments? And why was this chilling footage hidden from the world until now? The silence has finally been broken. And the revelations are more terrifying than anyone imagined. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we uncover the shocking details of Menglong and Song Yiren's final struggle. The silence surrounding Menglong's tragic death was shattered when a single piece of leaked footage surfaced online, sending shockwaves across the globe. For months, speculation had circulated about the circumstances of his final moments. But nothing could have prepared the world for the horrifying clarity of those 30 minutes captured on a hidden camera. The video, grainy yet devastatingly real, showed not the glamorous actor fans adored, but a man trapped in fear, alongside actress Song Yiren, as they faced what seemed to be the final half-hour of their lives. The footage appeared first in an anonymous forum, uploaded by an account with no history, no profile, no traceable identity. Within minutes, it was downloaded, reposted, and shared across social media platforms, triggering an avalanche of panic and outrage. The headline Menglong's last 30 minutes trended worldwide within hours. For fans who had prayed for closure, the footage did not bring peace but instead ignited an inferno of questions, suspicions, and unbearable grief. What the footage showed was nothing short of terrifying. The setting was a dimly lit room, stripped of warmth or comfort. A clock on the wall ticked audibly, marking the passage of time with cruel precision. Menglong sat hunched forward, his face pale, his eyes restless as though searching for an escape that did not exist. Beside him, Song Yiren appeared equally distressed, her hands trembling as she clutched at the sleeve of his shirt. The atmosphere was suffocating, a mix of fear, resignation, and unspoken dread. The first minutes of the footage seemed almost quiet. The silence was heavy with tension. You whispered something indistinct, leaning close to Song Yiren, who shook her head violently, tears welling in her eyes. At one point, she muttered audibly, "There's no escape, they'll come for both of us." That single line, replayed millions of times online, became the focus of endless debate. Who were they? What did Song Yiren know that the rest of the world did not? As the footage continued, all details added to the sense of unease. A faint knock on the door startled both of them. You looked toward the sound, his body tensing. But the door never opened. Later, a muffled voice could be heard in the background. Distant but chilling, "Stay quiet." Fans who dissected the audio slowed it down, filtered it, and insisted there were at least 2 or 3 additional people present outside the frame. Whether these were guards, captors, or conspirators, no one could say for sure. But their presence deepened the terror. What struck viewers most was Yu's demeanor. This was not the charismatic actor whose charm lit up screens. Instead, he appeared vulnerable, fragile, his voice breaking as he whispered, "If I disappear, don't let them say it was my choice." Those words echoed like a prophecy, with the suspicions that his death had been neither accidental nor voluntary. It was as though Yu had left behind a final message, captured unintentionally by a hidden lens, now broadcast to a world that demanded the truth. The leak triggered chaos in the media. Major networks scrambled to verify the footage, while government agencies attempted to suppress its spread. Yet the harder authorities tried to erase it, the more viral it became. Hashtags like Final 30 Minutes, Menglong footage, and Global Shock dominated platforms, while fans worldwide organized live streams analyzing every frame. Analysts debated whether the clip was authentic, but the overwhelming consensus was that it was real, unedited, and unstageable in its raw fear. Song Yiren's role in the footage became another focal point. Her trembling voice, her whispered warnings, and her visible collapse toward the end of the recording all suggested she had insight into the forces surrounding them. Some fans argued she was complicit. Others insisted she was a victim caught in the same web as Yu. Regardless, her presence transformed the narrative from a singular tragedy into a shared ordeal, implicating her in the mystery in ways that raised even more questions. Full outrage followed swiftly. In Beijing, thousands gathered in silent vigils, holding candles and chanting Yu's name. In Seoul, Tokyo, and London, massive crowds marched with banners reading "We hear you, Yu and no more silence." Petitions demanding a reinvestigation of his death amassed millions of signatures within days. The footage had transformed grief into fury, and fury into collective action. Experts joined the fray, dissecting every element of the 30 minutes. Forensic audio specialists pointed to overlapping background noises, perhaps an air conditioner, footsteps, and the faint scrape of a chair being moved. Language analysts noted Yu's constant glances toward the door, his hands twitching as though he were preparing to run. Song Yiren's posture collapsing inward as though she already knew escape was impossible. Psychologists commented on the visible symptoms of acute stress, likening the pair's behavior to that of hostages under duress. The entertainment industry was thrown into turmoil. Yu, once silent, began speaking in hushed tones. He wanted to walk away. Anonymous co-star confessed. But he wasn't allowed. Producers and directors distanced themselves from the scandal, showing vague statements of sorrow while avoiding the deeper implications. Contracts, past projects, financial entanglements were scrutinized, exposing a labyrinth of control and exploitation long whispered about in the industry. For fans, however, the evidence was deeply personal. Many wrote online that they could not stop replaying Yu's final words, hearing them in their sleep. By the image of a man who knew his end was near but fought to leave behind a message. The 30 minutes became more than footage, they became a window into betrayal, fear, and the silenced truth. Footage spread. Governments faced mounting pressure to respond. Official statements labeled the leak as unverified and dangerous. The public against misinterpretation. But their refusal to acknowledge the contents only added to suspicion. Why? If the footage was false, authorities worked so hard to erase it? Why? Nothing was hidden. Would they not allow the world to see and decide for itself? At the end of the 30 minutes, the footage grew more frantic. Song Yiren sobbed openly, clutching Yu's arm. He leaned closer, whispering words too quiet to be fully captured. Some claimed to hear him say, "Tell them the truth." The screen then went black, as though the camera had been cut, leaving the world in an agonizing silence. The ending of the footage, abrupt, unresolved, suffused with terror, became the final nail in the coffin of official narratives. The world now demanded answers with a ferocity that could not be silenced. Yu Menglong's death was no longer just a personal tragedy. It was a global scandal. A story of betrayal, silence, and fear. The leaked footage was the proof everyone had been waiting for. As closes, one haunting truth remains: the final 30 minutes were never meant to be seen. But now that they are, the world will never forget. And if the footage revealed terror, greater horrors lie hidden in the shadows of what followed. The release of Yu Menglong and Song Yiren's leaked footage had already thrown the world into chaos. But the aftermath was even darker than the video itself. 30 minutes were not just a chilling glimpse into their final ordeal, they were a doorway into a labyrinth of betrayal and conspiracy. Analysts, investigators, and fans across the globe dissected every second, uncovering layers of meaning that turned the clip from a tragedy into a terrifying revelation of power and control. The first revelation came from digital forensic experts who analyzed the audio track of the footage, using advanced sound isolation tools. Confirmed the presence of multiple voices in the background, at least 3, speaking in low tones. One phrase, enhanced and slowed down, became the subject of international debate. Finish it. The chilling directive, whispered by an unidentified voice, suggested deliberate orchestration rather than random tragedy. For many, it was the smoking gun. Song Yiren's whispered line, "There's no escape, they'll come for both of us," became the heart of public outrage. Who were they? Was she referring to industry power players, shadowy enforcers, or people even closer to them? Some claimed she was signaling a betrayal within Yu's own inner circle. Others argued she had herself been targeted. Presence in the video proof that she too had become a pawn in a deadly game. Her sudden disappearance from public view after the leak only fueled suspicions. Her agency claimed she was resting and deeply shaken. But fans were unconvinced. To them, Song Yiren had either been silenced, or was preparing to reveal more than anyone was ready to hear. Governments and media outlets scrambled. The world erupted in collective fury. Demonstrations grew larger, spilling into capitals around the globe. Protesters carried banners reading "We saw the truth and no more lies." Digital campaigns demanded accountability. Millions of signatures calling for international oversight of the investigation. Yu Menglong's name, once a symbol of entertainment and artistry, now now become synonymous with resistance against corruption, secrecy, and the weaponization of silence. The entertainment industry shook under the weight of the revelations. Contracts once hidden came to light, revealing clauses so restrictive they bordered on imprisonment. Former colleagues began to speak anonymously, admitting you had expressed fear, confiding in whispers about not being allowed to walk away. One director recalled him saying, "Don't let me go," a line tragically echoed in the footage itself. The industry, once celebrated for its glitz, was now exposed as a place where stars could be trapped in invisible cages. Media outlets competed to frame the narrative. Some positioned the footage as undeniable proof of foul play, calling for arrests and prosecutions. Others treaded more carefully, warning against sensationalism. But no matter how cautious the reporting, the impact was the same. The world could not look away. Documentaries, podcasts, and op-eds multiplied, each analyzing the footage, each trying to piece together the unanswerable questions of those final 30 minutes. Psychologists weighed in. The visible signs of trauma in Yiren Song's behavior. Yu's twitching hands, his constant glances toward the door, her plea not to be forgotten, all were indicators of extreme psychological duress. Song's tears, her collapsed posture, her resigned words, these were not performances. All manifestations of fear. For fans, information was unbearable. Their idols had not died peacefully, but had faced terror head-on in their last moments. Cultural critics began to call the footage the final testament, arguing that it was more than evidence, it was a legacy. Menglong's final words and Song Yiren's warnings had been immortalized, forcing the world to confront uncomfortable truths about fame, control, and exploitation. The footage is not just about you, one critic wrote. About all the voices silenced before him, and all those who may be silenced after. It is a warning from the grave. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories grew rampant. Some believe the footage had been deliberately leaked by insiders who wanted the truth to surface, even at great personal risk. Claimed it was only part of a larger archive, or recordings waiting to be exposed. A particularly disturbing theory suggested that the camera capturing the footage had been placed there intentionally. Document the final moments, as though Yiren Song's terror was meant to be preserved as evidence or even a message. If true, the question was chilling: who placed the camera, and why? The unanswered questions only fueled global obsession. Were the voices off-screen? What happened immediately after the footage cut to black? Why did authorities move so quickly to suppress it if it were not real? And perhaps most terrifying, if Yu Menglong and Song Yiren could be silenced, who else was at risk? Yu's father, already a haunting figure in the story, spoke publicly after the leak. His words broke hearts. "I watched those 30 minutes. I saw my son begging the world not to forget him. Let him be forgotten. They tried to silence him in life, but in death, his voice is louder than ever." His grief-stricken declaration reignited protests, transforming mourning into a movement. As days turned into weeks, the footage remained online despite constant attempts to erase it. Each time it was removed, it resurfaced, spreading further, carried by people who refused to let the world forget. 30 minutes became a permanent part of cultural memory, impossible to suppress. Yu Menglong's final struggle and Song Yiren's chilling words were etched into history as symbols of betrayal, courage, and resistance. In the end, the leaked footage did not provide all the answers. It did not name the conspirators. It did not reveal the exact chain of events. And it did not bring Yiren Song back. But it did something more powerful. It exposed terror, exposed silence, and it forced the world to confront the truth. The tragedy of Yu Menglong and Song Yiren is no longer just about two stars lost too soon. It is about a system that allowed terror to thrive in the shadows, about voices cut short, and about the strength of those who refuse to look away. The final 30 minutes, once hidden, now belong to the world, and the world will never forget. They tried to bury the footage, but instead it became immortal. They tried to silence Yu Menglong, but instead his final words became eternal. The truth, seen, cannot be unseen. In the end, the leaked footage was more than just 30 minutes of terror. It was a voice that could not be silenced. A haunting testament to Yu Menglong and Song Yiren's final struggle. Their fear, their whispers, their pleas for truth have become a mirror for the world, us to see the shadows that thrive in silence. At Red Carpet Revealed. We believe that stories like this cannot be buried. The courage to face the darkness and for justice, and the refusal to forget are what keep their voices alive. We thank you, our readers, for standing with us through every revelation, every painful detail, every unanswered question. Together, we will continue to seek the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be. Thank you for reading.